Te- test. Testing. Okay. There is a chance right now that the problem is solved. Oh man, there's a chance the problem is solved. There's a chance you can hear me right now through both speakers. And can you hear this too? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I think we might be good, but I need confirmation from somebody. I need confirmation from a fellow headphone user. But until that, let me just treat you to a little Johnny B. Good boy of sorts. Alrighty. I'm gonna hope you heard that. And I hope you heard. Oh, Amanda, my friend, thank you. You can hear me in both, and I hope the keys are working as well. I think that means I solved the issue. I did some digging today. Excuse-moi. In a place I hadn't dug yet. And I found some people with some good help. And you know what? Sometimes when you're new at something, there's just things you got to figure out, that you can't know until you have the issue in front of you and have to find it. Must find your solution. So many solutions we must find today and tomorrow. So how we doing, gang? How we doing, y'all? Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's all sounding good. I think I can even tell in the headphones. It's the thing. On my end, I've been able to hear myself through my interface. But on the end of the streaming, it's only been going through the left. And I figured that out because I figured out how to solve it because it actually has to do with recording specifically. And even though it's a stream, it is it's DVR and it's recording it. And so it's a solo Scarlett thing. And there's just a whole thing about it only being on the left side and it recording initially default only on one side again. So you have to manually go in and select something that I figured out. But here we are on this fine day, and we're already, just about 10 minutes in, only 50 more to go. And the more and more I do this, the time seems to keep on speeding up. A lot like other aspects of life as well, right? No part is immune. But so I suddenly now feel like, even though the struggle of this is having to fill it with so much, things to say and space, there is always, honestly, too much to say all the time. You can never fit in all what you really want to say and feel in one space. But that's what we try to do here, trying our best just to openly talk about some ideas, some ideas that, might be valuable because they come from honest places, because the honest truths of our life right now, they don't need any, pampering up and embellishing even really to be that truthfully, horrifying and terrifying. Everyone, so many people are just on the brink financially through no fault of their own. And it's devastating to see, which is why we must do everything in our power to combat that. And we can. I'm seriously so hopeful in this thing. You're probably going to see me, go through emotions just like you guys. But right now, I'm seeing some things. And it's not that the things are necessarily good or bad. It's just there is an off-ramp. We may or may not take it. We have to choose to. But there is an off-ramp on this mess of a ride we've been going on for a while here. It's time for me to stop talking in metaphors and vagueness and get to something real. So last stream on Monday, we were going into some things, and I'm just pulling up. See, I have notes again. I also, oh my God, I realized I was watching back the last stream, and I realized I just had my phone in front of me, in front of the camera, and you totally, see, I probably shouldn't acknowledge this, but, it's the internet. Someone will find it anyway and notice. But I totally gave away my lock password to my phone on camera, and you can see the password to my phone. So, oh well, I really don't care that much. But, so normally I have the phone over there kind of trying to advertise this stream on my Instagram. But because of my notes lately, and even though I do actually have a regular notepad here, there's some... I have some, I'm trying to show you guys some stuff too. So I'm caving in a little bit here. Cave Johnson in. me take away this screen for a second. You can't see it, but I can. Hold up. Okay. Okay. So today's stream. So much to talk about. I think there's something I want to get to that's kind of can be the main topic of discussion today. But we can ease into it by bridging off of what the last stream had, which I was going into this Dave Rubin thing. And see, I want to pull it up on here and then just share, show my screen. But not, it's twofold. One reason why I don't want to is because, copyright strike. If I literally just show you the video here, I mean, it's dorky or whatever, right? But I don't care, and I probably won't get copyright striked. But also, I don't know, if I suddenly start doing all this stuff where I just am reacting right here, I don't want to become purely a reacting type thing. That's what everyone just likes to do, is react to the drama. And like, here's a reaction video. Oh, you get to just, it's like, I'd rather show you on here and just like kind of have me, like, you can watch the video if you want, maybe I'll even put a link to it. But I don't know. This reaction stuff is fun, but I don't want to get to that point. I'd rather keep it more quaint and a bit special, because I don't always want to be reacting to shit and showing you guys stuff, but sometimes I want to show you guys something. So this Dave Rubin thing, I went into it at the end of the last stream, so I won't really go into it again. But to summarize, there's just this clip I really would like to see that's bizarre, where Dave Rubin is David Rubin. That's how I was saying it last time. Just looking at my notes for a second, so I don't miss. All right, you know what? All right, we're gonna see you're seeing in real time here this flip back. All right, actually, we're gonna just shift the gears a bit. So I'm actually gonna come to the main topic of today, and then we're gonna circle back to Dave Rubin because it can relate. It can ease itself back in. Because just jumping to it right now is a bit jarring, I feel like. But so there was some big news this week. To me, it's one of the biggest news pieces of the week, if not, I mean, probably not the biggest. There's always so much happening. But a representative from the House of Representatives, a Republican, Mr. Madison Cawthorn, pretty sure his name is. There is some news around this gentleman from, I should know what state he's from. I don't think he's from Florida. But anyway, he's a relatively known, a Republican. I don't know him super well, but I've heard his name. Kevin McCarthy, who gets wrapped up in this drama a bit more, is a little more well known. He's the House Minority Leader. But so there's this quote that's going around. I'll read you guys the quote. I'll read it to you. And I think somewhere it says it's from a podcast he went on, but I feel like I'm not sure if this statement is captured like with consent or not. Like maybe it is. Maybe it's literally just on a podcast. But a lot of times, you get an admission from somebody, because like you're recording and you're in a conversation and they don't know you're recording. A lot of like journalists try and do that, and it's questionable of moral implications. But if you're out like at dinner or something, you're at a public place. People have done that in the past to reveal crazy stuff. It's just what people have done. I don't know even if that's what this is. It probably isn't actually. I've literally people said it's a podcast clip, but it's such a revealing statement. It is like unbelievable. Like I can't. There's just another thing this week that I cannot believe. Let me get to the statement here. Yeah. So, in this statement he made, he cites some crazy things going down in Washington that Kevin McCarthy and some of the other Republicans who met with him now, they're saying that he's lying and that he's exaggerated claims. But everyone wants to know, this stuff only just raises more questions of who. Come on, give me it. I read it earlier. Give me the statement. I demand it. Why do they make it so difficult? Literally looked up statement. Jesus. It's so saturated. Like, you know what? Okay, I will share this with you now, so that you don't have to bear this just looking at my face. Oh, look at that. Okay. We have Crazy Town right now, but, I appreciate that, Amanda, by the way. Okay, hold up. You can't. This is bad. Wait. Wow. See, I'm bad with this. I'm learning, folks. Wait. If I drag this, what is this? Will this help? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay, we got somewhere. Okay. Let's look at this together. Look at all these. Okay, so you can see the. You can see. No, I'm good. I don't need to be empowered. Okay, so look, maybe it was on this podcast here. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Okay. Hold up. Where is the statement? Give me the full statement. Did I skip over it yet? Okay. You know what? I think I took a picture. Let me just frickin' read it off my freaking phone that I just was frickin' telling you about that I got for this freaking reason. Yep, found it. All right, folks. Sorry about that slight detour. But we're back on track. Madison Cawthorn, statement. Look at that. I took like 7 minutes to preface. Nothing as of yet. Aren't you impressed? Okay, so here is the statement. In case you missed what Cawthorn originally said, here it is. The sexual perversion that goes on in Washington, being kind of a young guy in Washington, where the average age is probably 60 or 70, you look at all these people, a lot of them that I've looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics. Then all of a sudden you get invited. We're going to have a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. What did you just ask me to come to? And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Some of the people leading on the movement to try and remove addiction in our country. And then you watch them do a key bump of cocaine right in front of you. And it's like, this is wild. Oh my God. Did you catch that? This guy just admitted that other people, at least in the House of Representatives, if not the Senate, and, who knows where else at in Washington, he just admitted to being invited. It's a young dude in Congress, he just got invited by a bunch of older people in Congress to come to an orgy. Like, I just need to let that sit for a minute and not try and explain it and just let you think about it for a minute. All right, see, now it feels a bit weird just starting to play nice music over the idea of, see, who can we name? Nobody yet. Everyone wants to know the names of the people, but in my head, it's like the fact that that something like that hasn't come up in Like I fear for this dude a little bit. Like, oh God, you know, like he said something he wasn't supposed to say, was he? I'd love to see some exchange about it, but I haven't yet. There might be some out there, but I don't think Cawthorn's even released an official statement since the initial one addressing it at all. And you know, Kevin McCarthy and the other Republicans, they were like, you know, we're very disappointed in his actions, and they say he's lying. But like, you did you hear that? The way, like, I mean, I had this thing. We probably could just watch the clip, but I haven't heard it. Just the statement itself, in the way it's described, there is like a genuineness there, and it's very. I'm gonna just read it again. I'm gonna put it into the record, you know. The sexual perversion that goes on in Washington. Being kind of a young guy in Washington, where the average age is probably 60 or 70, you look at all these people, a lot of them that I have looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics. Then all of a sudden you get invited. We're going to have a sexual get together at one of our homes. You should come. What did you just ask me to come to? And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Some of the people leading on the movement to try and remove addiction in our country, and then you watch them do a key bump of cocaine right in front of you. And it's like, this is wild. It is so funny to me. I can't say that with a straight face if I tried. Like, yeah. You're like, this is wild. That would be wild for me too. If you saw people in your own party, you know, and their positions in the drug movement, the war on drugs, the drug movement, the drug movement, big drug. But like, wow, you know, this might be something that continues to unfold. Who knows if, you know, if Matt Gaetz is like, shut up, man, don't you say anymore, right? Because he's got all those stuffs going down with his stuff. I wonder if it's relative. Maybe it's not even relative at all. But I don't know. Maybe Matt Gaetz didn't get asked because Cawthorn's a little cuter than him, right? Oh, but don't worry about it, buddy. Okay, well, transitioning from that, you know, we're talking about people on the right wing um, being disingenuous and at the same time uh, genuous. Look, we're making great new. Um, yeah, it's not very surprising, is it? It's like that's the thing. That's what's most messed up about it is the fact that it isn't surprising to us anymore, and that's like real. Like, is things are just that, you know, crazy and corrupt down there, and we all know it. Hearing that there's a real like eyes wide shut orgy type thing going on. There's another there's a phrase I can't think of. I say that a lot, but it's not surprising anymore, right? It's just like, oh well, I gotta expect it at this point with all, you know, we found out in the world about all the Epstein stuff and. Oh, it's like, whoa. There's some skeletons, aren't there? In the closets, aren't there? There's some bony ones. um, but in this mindset of, see, this guy, Cawthorn, was. I would be curious to see if it was recorded, the actual clip of him saying this, to see how he would be genuine enough to, you know, reveal something like that. It's fascinating, you know. Like you can relate a little bit, or not so much. I mean, not everyone can relate, obviously. In fact, very few people can relate to that specific situation. Um, but you can empathize a little bit, right? Because that make you uncomfortable, no matter who you were. And that's a thing. Now I'm thinking about who else there has been, you know, approached and just hasn't said anything about it. Like, I could start naming some names, but I feel like I'd feel disgusting even like trying to like speculate on just how other members of the Congress might have been made uncomfortable if if Madison Cawthorn is you know, is getting asked, who else do you think is getting asked? And what kind of a weird society is living inside Congress, right? Oh man, the things that people have to deal with everywhere you go. But in this moment of, see, you can clearly see something's not adding up, and you know, looking on McCarthy and them's end of it, it's like, um, you're saying he's lying, but one of you is, that's for sure. um, and in this, you know, in another end of the conservative conflicts of today, the conservative infighting and such. There's infighting on every, you know, supposed side of this thing that we have, and those are the most fun. It's most fun to watch on either side the infighting because those ones themselves expose people's truest natures when you're forced to disagree with someone that you normally would agree with. Um, it's something that a lot of people have been disagreeing with Dave Rubin on, or not. I don't know if I'd say a lot of people, but a decent amount of people um, have been backlashing Dave Rubin on his announcement of having a kid and with his husband. And I already went into it more in the last room, so I'll just get to the clip. But there's this clip with between him and Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck has him on, and that's the thing. So he's, you know, been established now in right-wing media long enough to where he has some friends kind of backing him up, despite the cultural feelings for a lot of the base that are, you know, you can't be surprised by the backlash in some ways. But man, this clip, like, oh, I feel bad for Dave, man. Not a guy that I agree with too much, really, probably. But man, like, he's just a dude trying to live his life still as a human being. And to see people, you know, that he's invested in backlash on him, it's never a fun thing to see, honestly. You know, I don't get like a kick out of it. There's some things you get a kick out of watching, you know, in people's receptions. But this one's like, it's the thing. We have all these bizarre things where I don't even know how to feel anymore. Like, part of it is it's just this weird, bizarre show. But it's with real people, and that's the thing. This clip I'm about to show you, it's just an unreal conversation to me because Glenn Beck is genuinely, he has Dave Rubin on the screen with him, and he's like giving him like a defense. It's like the best defense that a Glenn Beck could, you know, that Glenn Beck could muster. But let's just watch it. How about that? Come on, no, not Glenn Beck. Okay. I got it. Gotta wait for the ad though. Shut up, please. Please. Yeah. Get out of my system like the air that just left my body. Oh, we got another one. And it's over. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. And I know it's not good quality for you to see, but just listen and know that Dave Rubin is the guy kind of receiving this conversation a little more.
I get why the right has these, what I would argue are often legitimate fears, because the left does not stop eating civilization.
Correct.
And think about what an unfortunate position that puts us in. Because then someone like me can make an announcement like this. Then good, decent, thoughtful conservatives, some of faith, maybe some not of faith, whatever it is, could reach out and say, boy, this is what an interesting opportunity, and sure, it's a little different, and whatever, all the love that you and the Blaze guys and everyone else are giving me. And then there's this other part that's legit, which is, if we move the line, they're going to keep going. And I don't know what the answer to that is. Dave. I honestly don't, because that has nothing to do with me, and how I'm going to live my life.
I think, and this is why I wanted to have you on, because I don't have an answer. I am, you know me, I am a deeply religious man, and my religion says man and a woman, that is the basic building block of family. We're probably the clearest church on this, because it's been in our doctrine for 200 years. So we're very clear on that. But that's marriage and relationships, and that's what I believe. But I also know God created you just like he created me, flaws and all. I believe I have a gene, they've never found it, that makes me very susceptible to alcoholism, because it runs in my family. So does craziness, but it runs in my family. The same thing with things that I don't understand. And if we can't have a conversation about things that we don't necessarily understand, and probably won't until we get to the other side, we have to just work it out together and be able to say, Dave, I disagree, or I don't know what the answer is, but I love you.
Okay. That's the clip right there. Oh. Tell me what you guys thought of that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But, a lot sticks out to me. And I don't know how you guys, receive that. However anyone receives any of this is, valid. But to me, it just, that's the thing. You can see Glenn Beck actually, he is genuinely reaching out and is offering up a conservative, defense. But man, it's kind of heartbreaking to watch. He says flaw. Flaw, we're all, imperfect and flawed, which is true. I agree with that. We are all, imperfect, but what we classify as flaws, that's how, everything is perspective of what you consider, to be a flaw, or just an aspect about you that makes you, different. And not every people do the same things. And so for him to equivocate, his sexuality and wanting to raise a child with two fathers, equivocating that to a flaw like alcoholism. It's bro, you're saying that to his face, and he's having to accept it as help. That is his help. That is who he's having to lean on right now. And that makes me just sad. Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. Some shit I just don't wish on anybody. Yeah. Oh, man. It's so, it's bizarre. It's just a bizarre thing to see. Let me check my other note. Alright, wait, hold on. Let me check. You know what? There's a chat I haven't actually been checking. I'm an idiot for this. Oh, no. My audio cut out? Oh, wait, that might have been why I intentionally did it. Please tell me that's why I intentionally did it. Oh, wait, that might have been... Okay, yeah, it seems that way. But I appreciate the help there. And see, I guess I should kind of maybe, I should take this opportunity to establish a bit of myself a bit more and how I feel about something. Because I'm talking a lot about, like, people, I'm classifying people, I'm labeling people, which isn't something that I necessarily honestly believe in myself, even though it's what we do as a society. And anytime I label someone, it's like in the attempt, the hope that there is this some people have, a recognized kind of vague understandings of what some person means, but that's the thing, like, people's meanings of all these words are completely different depending on what word you identify with. So in a way, I feel bad labeling anyone. It's because I think it implies that I have like some. And maybe it implies I have some feelings about it, but I really, um, my politics have evolved quite a lot, and I don't like to really help continue the separation of like how we should think about things, because you have to really look at everything from every angle to understand something the best you can. Um, and a lot of my views have evolved, and so I don't know. I have some views now that I guess would maybe like be more classified, right wing, but that in itself, to me, it doesn't. See, here we go. Here's how we transition into this idea that I'm trying to talk about. Like, hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's the thing. I have friends and family like you. I bet, like most people, um, most people are surrounded by people of all different types of feelings about the world and ideas and upbringings. A lot of things people can't choose. A lot of things we do have responsibility and choice over, but most of our lives we're brought up for a giant chunk of it with just kind of given some information. So we're all in a way ignorant to every other perspective but our own, and it's something you can't help until it is helped, and it's a beautiful thing to have that be helped. It's not something to you shouldn't look down on someone for not understanding something yet, because everyone, you know, yeah, okay. Train of thought, come on. Conservatism and stuff, like there are some specific issues that like I cross over now on, and I just understand. See, I work on principles, and I like to, a lot of people have their own principles even if they don't really know it, even if they contradict themselves a lot. um, Everyone has some kind of a belief system, and like libertarians, for example, um, I know people who are libertarians, and I have a lot of agreements aligning with some people on it, because a libertarian specifically is like a principled kind of ideology, in the sense that it is like, of all the different kind of aspects of like modern conservatism, one of the biggest chunks of it that still is, holds true, is just kind of anti-government. Like, get the government out of my face, and I don't trust the government, and we have good reason not to trust the government, right? So it's something you can kind of relate to, but it is in a principled like way that it's not a I don't have the principle in me to just be anti-government. You have to, like, part of the libertarian philosophy is it has to do with regulations, and where I disagree is that, I mean, I don't think you can classify like regulations are, good or bad. There's literally just terrible regulations. There are some regulations that you identify and look at the context, look at the problem, look at the people involved. You go, what the hell is this? This has no purpose and is impeding on people's freedoms, and it's hurting the little guy, it's hurting the whoever. You have to look at it individually. And then some regulations are necessary for safety, for prosperity, for well-being, for the pursuit of happiness, all the ideals we try to hold in the United States. Laws, regulations are needed for. And so it is this principle of just kind of being, there's a spectrum of how you feel about, the free market and the freedom of society in the state we're currently in, which is, wealth-driven and currency capital-driven consumerism to the max. But I can understand that perspective. It makes sense to me, actually. And there is piles of reasons as to why you could feel that way and have that principle. And that's the thing, it is a principle. It's something you believe in. And I can respect that, actually, because you're not... It isn't a grift, like, say, maybe Dave Rubin might be doing. It is something... Like, Dave Rubin is not a very principled guy when it comes to policy. But I'm trying to think of a well-known, like, libertarian. See, I could say, like, Rand Paul, but I feel like people probably would criticize him as, like, a libertarian anyway. But that's the thing. It's like somebody like say, like Rand Paul and Bernie Sanders, people who call themselves words that apparently mean the polar opposites, right? One is a libertarian, one is a socialist. One is like the most anti-government you could possibly be, and apparently, socialist means that you are, pro-government, right? That's the thing. It's like such a simplified way of looking at things. And then, it's the thing. I don't call, myself a libertarian, and I don't call myself a socialist because those aren't my perspectives. I'm not going to, I trust what's the one channel? There's a channel that's like a libertarian channel. Yeah, see, this is not showing good for me that I can't remember the names. But that's the thing. It's like it's not my perspective. I would go for them to give the libertarian perspective. You want to go talk to somebody like Richard Wolff on the socialist perspective. It's not a perspective that many people actually have in the real way. Most people, these words don't even really mean anything. They're just like, yeah, I like that. But you know why they say that? Because they like the actual idea that comes with it. Or, why do people like libertarians? Because they like what are some ideas that you actually find agreement on? Rand Paul and Bernie Sanders both happen to agree on the fact of, hey, we shouldn't criminalize marijuana. They agree on that. Interesting. They come from apparently the polar opposites, but sometimes are in perfect harmony. They both want to get out of the war in Yemen. I'm pretty sure Rand Paul has... there's a couple other Republicans who are on that side, Being anti-government... and this thing I'm calling libertarianism anti-government is actually... That's ignorant of me. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot deeper, honestly. But that means you also don't want your government doing illegal wars and crap. And so we find out that beyond all these labels, everybody just ends up working with somebody when you agree with them, and then you end up not working with somebody when you don't agree with them. And some people you happen to kind of agree more, but sometimes we really disagree, right? Like all these infighting right now on the right and the left. And then sometimes you agree with the other people. It's like, and we try to make some sense of it in this division. And that is the mistake, to try and simplify ourselves. Each one of us has... That's the thing. It's so interesting to, meet more people in this scene and just understand truly how, on the inside, most people are really... they have a lot of ideas. And they don't fit into these molds that we, prop up with branding and, slogans and just hope. Like, most people are deeper than that. But most people have given up on I mean, maybe they never even really thought there was a fight in the fighting against that. The idea of these parties, something that's been so ingrained in our politics for so long. It's why we need to amend the man, because this is a giant issue. And, whether you're coming from the angle of like somebody like Andrew Yang, who is looking specifically on the fact that we should implement ranked choice voting and open primaries, that definitely is a way to amend the man that could help our democracy. But one of the main ways that I looked at, and I've talked about this before, one of my earlier streams, I made it the focus. I have a lot of things. I got a lot of, wacky and not so wacky ideas. And all of them, I want to hear what you guys think. Everything I say and have said here, I long to hear criticism and amendation on anything I might say. I encourage anything, and I don't have... Not a single person here has all the answers. We have to have the answers together. We have to find them. And sometimes You can find them just by looking. And when I look around and I see these factions that have formed, it's a difficult. See, I've had to kind of grow out of the way I used to think about it. Um, it's difficult. We're in quite a pickle, aren't we? But I see a path out in many ways. There's so many different ways that we could go to create any one of them. So many things we can do. But if my plea, my begging cry to libertarians, personally, publicly, um, metaphorically and literally, my advice to anyone who calls them or a libertarian, themselves a libertarian, or believes in some libertarian ideals or anything like that, of all of the aspects of that belief, I think if the movement wants to go anywhere, and I mean it, because right now they're kind of in like it's kind of peaked out a bit in some of well, they haven't peaked, I guess, because I think it's evolving, and there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of especially on the internet, just there's so many rabbit holes you could go down that I haven't really gone down, but there's a lot of depth in growing movement on this end, and so it's why I implore this. If the libertarian movement wants to have any like success and legacy of anything, the only thing they should focus on right now, the whole movement should shift its focus to, of all the things it cares about, taxes. And there's so many aspects and major things that libertarians, care about. And but one of the things that a lot of libertarians, and a lot of not even libertarians, just a lot of people think or feel about the world is this tax system of ours. Now, I don't see like tax as inherently like tax equals theft. Some people do. And I happen to agree in the sense that right now the way our tax system is set up is pretty much theft. It's worse than that. It is actually, it's different. It's this crazy thing we've done where we have this consensual, implicit, okay, I'm going to blow your mind for a second. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to blow too many people's mind, but I hope to just enlighten a little bit. Is anyone aware how long we've had like income tax in our country, actually? The answer is not that long. We could also, we always ignore the fact of how young our country is in total, really, and how, the ball continues to roll, as it always will, forever. And so, we didn't actually even have any income tax. The first income tax we had of any kind was done under Lincoln. And it was exclusively to help make funds for the Civil War. And it was exclusively an income tax on the super most wealthy. And that's who it was for. And it was, didn't make them poor, didn't take away from their wealth. It wasn't even that massive, actually. It's a thing because our entire revolution for this country was based in anti-taxes. Like the British are taxing us too much. Remember the Boston Tea Party? Remember all that stuff we learned about so long ago? It's so relevant today. It is so relevant. In our Constitution, what we did have before the 1910/20s era, the Prohibition era leading up to it, before that era, we had a law. In our Constitution, we could not. Yes, thank you guys. So I'm just reading the chat a bit. Very, I love you guys' stuff you're saying. I really do. Up until the 20s-ish, I can find the exact date because I'm pretty sure it's the 16th Amendment. We literally had to amend our Constitution, you see. It's interesting, isn't it? before we amended our Constitution, the 16th Amendment, I'm pretty sure, let me confirm it. The 16th Amendment. Yes. Before we passed the 16th Amendment in 1909, actually. I believe that's right. Before that time, the only amount of tax that could come from all the states was it had to match the percentage of population. It couldn't exceed like per capita of like if a really small state only had 6% of the population, they couldn't pay more than 6% of the collective taxes of the country. And we only changed that barely 100 years ago. Back when it was actually, this was, before like, it's so, we don't know the consequences of what we do until we see it so long after. But we passed the 16th Amendment to allow Congress to levy an income tax without apportioning it among the states on basis of population. Basically just said, hey, that part of the Constitution that was so like embedded in us, like not being overtaxed, we're just gonna just get rid of that. That's one of our amendments that we have made, our precious amendments. It was a amendment not too soon after this one. It was an amendment to the Constitution. Like, that's how important it was. We amended the Constitution to make alcohol illegal. And it was a giant issue at the time because, most everyone was just fucking drinking. And there's this whole movement of things. It's super interesting. But we amended our Constitution, and then guess what? We changed our mind just some years later. We went, you know what? Let's just go back on that. We amended the Constitution, a whole ass amendment again, just to revert that one. So in all of this, one of the ways we really need to amend the man, in my opinion, is we could do it in a number of ways, but we have to do what we did with the alcohol amendment. We need to repeal the 16th Amendment and either go back to the fair treatment of taxation in this country we used to have, or come to some new terms of it. And that's a whole other discussion. And a lot of people who make that thing sound crazy, just understand that you and me and all of us, no population of people have ever worked harder and been more, productivity has gone up. You must understand that we are producing more as a people, and yet the people have never lost more continually as they have been continuing to give. And so something's not really adding up, and we continually, our taxes go up, right? And we can talk about how much the rich don't pay and how much we pay, and look at all these loopholes that get paid, all that stuff. Well, what if we just there are other countries out there that function differently and don't have the same system as we do of funding our government, let alone when I'm talking about modern monetary theory, which that's the thing. Everyone's talking about the deficit, and yet both parties zoom up the deficit, and we're still going in. We haven't learned that lesson yet, although it's a lesson that is to be learned together, and I can't just say what it is. I have to learn it with you guys, whatever this lesson is going to be in our deficit crisis. Because an interesting point, Republicans, Trump's own base, Trump's least popular day in office. You know what it was? Of all the crazy things Trump did and CNN wanted to talk about, his least popular day of approval rating was the day he signed in his tax laws, 2017 tax bill that just skyrocketed the deficit, if you care about that, which a lot of people on Trump's side really do, and also gave tax breaks to the wealthy like nobody's business, bro. So regardless of even how you feel on the philosophy of tax, in essence, I'm not completely against the idea. And even, like a cousin of mine has if he's watching this, I bet he might have some disagreements, because he's actually kind of a libertarianish dude who has some on taxes. I don't think he feels the same way. It's the thing. Everyone's different a little bit. Like, I met a Democrat like a couple months ago, but a Democrat who is a pro-life Democrat. And his perspective has to do with his religion and stuff. He's like, well, I'm pro-life in this regard. I'm also pro-life in being anti-war. And so many contradictions that come up on people who, apparently would be on someone's side. that's his perspective. Everyone has their own perspective, and I don't agree or disagree fully with any single person's, and you can't fully agree or disagree with mine. Isn't that something that we all is absolutely true, that we all actually almost like 99.9% of us all have stuff we can agree on. At the same time, 100% of us can't agree on everything. But something I think we could come to agree on is understanding that we need to get to a new place of understanding taxes, or even thinking about them at all, because it's interesting to me that, it's like taxes. Hey, you making 30 something $1,000 a year, and we're gonna tax about 15,000 of that. About half the stuff you just worked for, we're just going to take from you. Don't also forget that this money you're giving us, you're implicit in that you're a part of the system. It's like I give my money to taxes, I pay my taxes. Makes you feel good about it. Don't worry about that. You don't get to write off on whatever the money goes to. Let alone the taxes go to $20 billion in fossil fuel companies every year. Like, don't forget. It's like it's fine that we're all just implicit in that. We all actively are saying, okay, I'm going to personally, through my country, contribute to fossil fuels. That's what we do. And it's the thing, I'm doing my taxes, I'm not I'm trying to follow the law like everybody else. Everybody's got to. But everybody recognizes that something's amuck. And maybe it's interesting and a little jarring that we are asked to pay so much in taxes continually. And, our real true wages have only gone down or stagnated practically since 1971. And we are continuing to pay more and more as the wealthy pay less and less. And at the same time, they're like, yeah, you know what, you guys, we don't have to pay taxes, right? We're fine. It's okay. You guys keep on paying taxes and keep on giving, all your money to something you can't even sign off on. The government, this idea of the government you give your money to. It makes sense when people have just an anti or pro-government stance, when we have just this, you're just giving money to the government and we can just do whatever we want. You're, electing us to do it, but you're giving us our money. And yet, on the side of campaign contributions, the wealthy and the corporations, they love to give to the government through that way. They're like, no, we don't worry about the campaign contributions, everybody. We got that part covered. We got that, donation to our government. Because you know what the government is? It isn't a building. It isn't like some vague thing. It is people. The entire country is just made up of people, whether that's all the people in Times Square or all the people in Congress having orgies. And see, I wanted to make some really nasty jokes there, but I just had to say it plainly because I could go too far immediately. And so it's just so interesting that we are continually asked to pay all these taxes. And yet they are fine. No, we don't want to pay taxes, but let us handle the campaign contributions, funding the real government, which is the people that are in it. So I think we could amend the man and create a new idea of funding our government, and it being through public funding of campaigns. And we could maybe just, taxes is just an idea. And my views on it are continually evolving. And I haven't, reached a factual landing spot on it yet, but it's a conversation I really think it'd be great to have. And yeah, hashtag PPU. Go back and watch one of the streams to find out about that. Or I'll make a clip of it soon, hopefully. Make some clips. I know I've said that. We're going to get some clips. We will. We got some help now coming. Don't worry. Don't you worry there, buddy boys. Oh, yeah, buddies. Buddy-o pals. I think it's time for me to go, though. So I'll leave you with 7 notes. That was ass. I was thinking that would somehow be beautiful. Love y'all. Peace and deuces. And don't lose them cabooses.